Hey everybody, and welcome to a poetic wild ride with Steve-O. We've got Maynard James Keenan of Tool, A Perfect Circle, Puscifer, and I have to say I've been a fan of this guy for considerably more than half of my life. I've always known him to be so mysterious, such an enigma, larger than life, like just a rock star. He would say just a poet. But man, I don't think we've ever seen me do a podcast with somebody I was such a fan of, which makes for just an incredibly entertaining experience, which includes the most embarrassing moment I think I've ever experienced on the podcast. And you're not going to want to miss it. It's pure gold. Also, I want you to know that tomorrow, as this comes out, on Friday, March 31st, Puscifer is releasing Existential Reckoning Rewired, which is a track-by-track reimagining of Existential Reckoning, their last album. That is available Friday, March 31st. Be sure to get it and strap on your seatbelts for this one. Let's get into it.
We're good.
Okay, so we won't waste any time.
Check.
We're recording every camera?
Hey,
We're recording every camera.
You're blowing your shot with that blind not being down. Yeah, that's not the blind. That's.
Check.
You guys are doing great.
There you go. Yeah, now you're not so shooting into the light. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Maynard James Keenan.
Where?
Yeah, dude. You've met Scott Randolph. This is Vinny.
What's up, dude?
Sir?
Nice to meet you.
And we're here in Arizona. Thank you so much for inviting us out here, man. What an honor.
It's an honor to have you here, watching people storm your overly branded bus.
Yeah, it's not so subtle. My tour bus is obnoxiously wrapped with my face and name, and I have regretted that at times.
Never regret.
Yeah, you said that you're just dripping with anxiety to look at the wrap on the bus.
Oh yeah, I was like, to drive around with my name on a bus, I would just be folding in on myself.
You guys don't put Tool on the side of yours in the show?
Was there ever a bus that had Tool on it?
No.
Puscifer?
Nope.
Nothing.
No. I think at some point we did maybe Perfect Circle, and it was like never again. Like that was 1999 or 2002 or something like. What a dumb idea.
I don't expect to wrap any buses again in the future, for what it's worth. I was dying to ask about that, if there was ever a tour bus.
We had Paul Frank wrapped Perfect Circle bus at some point. That was kind of cool.
Okay.
How many tour buses are you guys taking out with Tool when you guys are going around?
Fuck. I would be guessing.
10?
7, 8.
Wow.
And you guys each get one?
Yeah, we finally got to that age where it's like, I kind of like you, but not that often.
I don't want to breathe in your farts at night.
No, yeah, no. Yeah, but then I go right back on the road with Puscifer, and it's 20 people, 20-person bus. We're all just crammed on top of each other.
Wow.
So, it's good to know what it's like.
So,
Reset.
I could have guessed that you wouldn't have been big on wrapping buses because you're notoriously private. And
here I am on camera being private.
I know, that's the thing is, as I understood it, in the early days of Tool, like you guys basically at all costs avoided being on camera, like avoided doing interviews, like you were pretty unseen. And you've opened up over the years. Mm-hmm. Like, is there a philosophy to being less private?
Well, I mean, there's many layers to that. Friends get together, we write some songs, I write some poems and sing to them. It's not that special. So I don't know why you're tripping over yourself to come taste my skin, It just seems weird to to have that kind of a, that reaction over some fucking poems. This seems weird.
Right.
So it's out of balance for what seems normal.
Right.
But also just like your private life should be, kind of your private life, right? But then, flipping that around, like trying to, don't photograph me. Then you just have to start listening to what you said yourself and go, am I so important?
Right.
Not really that important. But at the same time, you like your privacy. So
Sure.
when you're serving food, people are there to have the food. But when you're not serving food, I shouldn't be bugged about recipes.
Right. That makes sense. With the writing the poems, it's crazy to me that you seem to strive to not really play a role in making the music. You want the music done, and then...
Well, it depends on the project.
Right.
Yeah, so, historically I wrote a lot earlier with Tool. We all wrote together. I would bring a piece. Everybody brings something to it. Same thing with Puscifer. With Billy, he wrote a bunch of stuff. He just had a bunch of stuff written. So that was kind of the process that we just kind of went with Perfect Circle. Well, with Puscifer, there's a lot more collaboration going on between Matt and Karina and I. Tool, like I said, early days, we were all writing, but as you get older, stubborn, more successful, and the egos start to swell, and all four of us can't fit our heads in one room, one of us has to back out and just let that fight occur,
Right.
and then wait for the chips to fall, and then go, okay, I'll write some poems to that.
Yeah, so you get the music, and then and notoriously, the music can take a long time to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it does get to you, you turn around because you're trying to react to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And generally, that's how I write. I've been working in Logic. Finally unlocked the Logic magic door where I can come up with rhythms and melodies that are just kind of sketches on a napkin, and I'm able to write a lot more music in that way because I'm not a drummer, I'm not a guitar player. I can play guitar, I can barely tune a guitar, and that's how I used to write, is on a bass. But I just kind of like, because there's better bass players, because there's better guitar players, I just kind of let them do that. But now that I've unlocked this little tool, no pun intended, in Logic, I'm like, I have this new thing now where I can't finish my coffee unless I write at least a beat or a melody in Logic, and then send that off to Matt and Karina and Puscifer. Go, here's my morning coffee. So like at least 3 a week. I send them something. So I have like this folder of like 40 things I've been working on over time. And I'm sending some of those to, if it sounds like it's leaning toward Perfect Circle or it's leaning toward Tool, I'll send them those way. But usually you just get crickets back from those guys. So they're like, that's a cute riff. Stay in your fucking lane.
Nice. With the Puscifer, just the name of the band, and V is for vagina. Like, there's so much.
What are you implying?
I'm observing the naughtiness, and there's been like Tool's been naughty like from the get go, and there's been issues with like censorship and stuff.
Oh yeah.
How much of it is like, oh, let's like. Well, I'm trying to think of my question here. Like,
I'm emotionally 11.
I like that. I like that, and I relate to that.
Like, how much did it screw you over with success?
Oh.
Right?
I mean, you guys almost tried to not be successful, it seems like.
Oh man, Puscifer, we shipped the first record, V is for Vagina, we were doing great, it all went out. From the time that we started recording V is for Vagina until the day that we actually released it, the record industry fucking collapsed. So all the record stores were open when we started recording. When we released, Tower and Virgin had all closed. Like, all those mom and pops had closed. We were stuck with Target, Best Buy, Kmart, and Target sent our albums back because it said vagina on it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Were you
It's
pissed?
just, you don't like vagina?
Yeah.
I love.
I know, it's kind of like us with the hot sauce. Like, Amazon's like, dude, you guys are doing great. We want to put you on the front page. our hot sauce is called hot sauce for your butthole. Mm-hmm. And they're like, can you change the word butthole? And Steve's like, no fucking way.
You figure out a way to not have a butthole, we'll change the name.
Right. You heard it
Then
here
we could
first.
talk.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, there's kind of a parallel there. But when you guys relied on that income with Walmart and Target and all those places, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, because Puscifer's an independent band, so like, I wrote the check for all that vinyl.
Yeah.
And had to not only pay for the vinyl to be made, but to have the vinyl shipped back to me, and then rent a fucking warehouse to put it in. Mm-hmm. And we sold it all eventually, but like, that was scary. Like to have, 80,000 pieces of vinyl shipped back to you.
I love that you
what
said
year was
piece
that?
of vinyl.
What's that?
I love that you said piece of vinyl.
Yeah.
It's a real.
What year was that? Was that before all the success?
No, that was Puscifer. That was 2007, 2006. No, yes, 2007 when everything kind of fell apart.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So what do you do? How'd you get rid of all those records?
We just kept touring and kept making
Selling on the
records
road.
and doing shit, and they finally sold. Recently this last year we got a whole new run of, color variants on it. Those are still moving. So it's just, I don't know. I'm fucking stubborn. So don't take no for an answer and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion of record labels, like in general? Like,
No pressure.
well, no, I mean, as I understand, I've never sold music, so I'm pretty ignorant. But I've always understood that in order to make it big, you need the record label.
Yeah.
But
So
in order to make money,
this is very individual based. This is all very specific to an individual artist. Most artists are some woe is me, somebody touched my butthole. Gonna bring it back to your hot sauce. When I was a kid,
like a Ween
I
song.
gotta be up in front of people acting like a moron. No idea how to do business, no idea how to organize anything, but you're incredible at whatever this art is that you've developed over the years, dancing around in front of a mirror with your fucking brush, right? So that you need somebody like a manager or a label to kind of handle all that business side of things in theory. But if you have a head for that, you really don't need a label. You just don't. If you understand how to run a business, but now we're back to like most artists,
right?
No clue. They can barely get up before 11, right? It's just not in their nature, right? I come from a farming community back in Michigan. I'm a martial artist, so there's things you got to do during the day to prepare for that. You can't just have a big breakfast and go run on the mat and start doing Jiu Jitsu, right? So I'm up at 5:30 just because that's just my nature. I plan. So I don't know. I think labels aren't necessary. What it comes down to is individual jobs within promoting an album that I might not be able to handle, like actual marketing and actual like
Distribution.
mailing lists and all that kind of shit that like there's various ad agencies and promotional institutions and marketing people that have that covered. And then there's the logistics of, warehousing and shipping and dates and deadlines and stuff that I have a head for, but I delegate that to my wife because she's really good at it. So we kind of manage it that way. So if you can do that, do that.
Yeah.
And do you want to be as big as, whatever the biggest star is nowadays? Well, then you have to be part of the system. 100%. If you're going to be Beyonce, you have to be tapped in because everybody wants their fingers in that pie, and that way it gets big because the bigger the pie, the bigger your slice, right?
Right.
So there's that. But at the level that Puscifer's operating at, we're playing to like 2,000, 3,000 people. It's a decent number of people to play to, but you still have to manage those margins.
Right.
And try to talk to some dude in some rock band that you know about the word margins. See how that goes.
Right. Scott's my guy.
Yeah.
For all of that. How long have you been married?
10 years.
Wow.
We actually got married on leap year day, so 2.5 years.
Okay.
3113. Is that right? Because that's my sober birthday. On leap year, I thought it was a leap year that year. But
Well, it was on 29th of February.
12.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I got sober on a leap year, and so then like 4 years later, I was like, dude, I got sober on a leap year. Like that wasn't a leap year that year. I always thought I was a leap year baby.
So you're bad at math.
Yeah.
And you're in charge of
margins.
He's in charge of Steve's margins.
Yeah, for sure.
seek other.
For sure.
So you're just about exactly 10 years older than I am.
Okay.
And you've been married for 10 years. I've been engaged for 5 years.
Okay.
I'm getting married this year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
So I'll be 10 years behind you on that too.
All right.
Is this the first time you've ever said that out loud?
I mean, I would like to be married this year.
Wow.
But I'm
time
also
I'm
going to be
hearing
doing
it.
a lot of crazy things this year. So.
Are you going to get married with tits or without tits?
I think that's going to be the final test for my fiance. For my next tour, I'm putting together this really wild show called Steve-O's Gone Too Far Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to...
Thinking of the implants?
I'm not thinking of it. I'm going to absolutely do it.
Okay. I don't want to show you my Amazon cart right now, but like I literally was buying, everything going on. I was like, I got to bring back the tits
Nice.
because I used to wear them in '97, and I ordered them, and I got this. It's like weird, like it's a whole sleeve, like you have to put it on like a vest, and it's tits. Like these feel like this is like stripper tits. They're like they're silicone. But they're like right here. So I put it on and my wife's like, what the fuck are you wearing? It looks like headlights like this. Tijuana boob job. It's awful.
I'm told that I can fit D's or double D's with like proper breast surgery.
Go C cup.
You think?
Yeah, it'll look better.
Yeah, Steve's look a lot better, dude.
I mean, dude, there's just something about D or double D.
I know.
If you're gonna go D, might as well go double.
Yeah, that's
You
kind
probably
of
shouldn't talk about that in front of your wife.
right.
That you even know what a D cup looks like.
Right, that's true.
Let's just edit this part out.
That's what my girl is not super thrilled about that whole plan. But I'm only gonna have them for like 3 months,
Okay.
and it's just for the production period of the show.
Logistic mind, I'm kind of going, okay, give yourself time to do the thing, heal from the thing, get healthy from the thing, and then go do the tour.
Well, right. I'm not touring with the tits. I'm just doing I do a multimedia tour. So there's everything gets shot, the show gets put together, and then the tour goes on as a multimedia thing.
Okay.
I feel like you got to do at least one meet and greet with the tits, though.
I'm gonna do a lot of things with the tits, bro.
Okay, so
But that's not what this is about.
I'm just riffing here. If you have the tits and it's super low cut, right? Just barely nipple, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of areola, but make sure there's a camera
See how many guys.
so that you're watching dudes like come up to shake your hand and they're like the eye contact issue.
I got a whole whiteboard.
That should be.
What can I say, man? I got plans. I got a lot of plans. And you gotta have plans, especially when it comes to your health. Your diet is the most important thing, man. That is why I go with Athletic Greens, specifically AG1 from Athletic Greens, which is the most comprehensive, convenient supplement you can get. It is delicious. It's loaded with 75 different vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, adaptogens, probiotics. I mean, they put more good stuff in there than can be believed. And again, it is delicious. You dump a scoop in your pint of water to get hydrated at the beginning of the day, and you have filled in all of the gaps in your diet. You've helped your gut health, your cognitive health. I mean, dude, it's just good for everything. I swear by it. I love it. And if you go to athleticgreens.com/Stevo, they will give you an entire year's supply of vitamin D, immune boosting, and 5 convenient travel packs of the AG1 I speak of with your first purchase. Again, that is at athleticgreens.com/Stevo. jump on it. You'd be a fool not to. Now, let's get back to it. Yeah, it's
Eye contact,
yeah.
like a screensaver.
Yeah, there's a lot. Did you know that your music was in super rad skate videos?
Yeah.
Were you aware of that? Like,
Yeah,
loved it.
I think mostly illegally.
Yeah,
But,
I think mostly
of course.
illegally, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Rebels.
Big Brother got away with murder in that regard.
Right,
Like,
there was a Union Wheels video, and both Tom Boyle and Chris Markovich had tunes of yours, and both, it's just fantastic.
You have an address for them?
you know these guys?
I particularly loved that. Now, so we're in Arizona. This is where you do your wine thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talk to me about Doomsday Prepping.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is that why you guys like Bromptons? Because they're like easy to pack and take? Does it have anything to do with
Speaking
Doomsday?
of packing, it is Arizona. I think, part of my doomsday mindset is just understanding water and farming, right? Because I think part of it is there's going to be climate changes, there's going to be weird things that happen, and if you understand the movement of the sun and the stars and seasons in your area, it really is about, for the reset, right? Understanding how to get beyond those things and survive. Preppers, I think, if they're really, smart preppers, they're thinking about the first 72 hours of when shit really goes down and just maintaining sanity for that period of time, and then maybe having some kind of store of water or food or something for a while. But when it comes to like actual doomsday, like radiation and nuclear weapons, like there's no amount of preparing that can help you with that. That's fucking absurd. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing you're gonna do to outrun something that's that massive of a scale. But I think it's part of like, okay, so I was telling you, we just moved our Jiu Jitsu academy over to another location, better location, more square footage, like more students coming in. It's great. But part of the idea of self-defense training is that now I can kick somebody's ass. And if you've never wrestled or done boxing or Muay Thai or judo before ever in your life, the idea that you're going to stop somebody who has a little bit of that background that's bigger or stronger or faster than you, that's kind of dumb. But what I have noticed is that people, short of gunshot wounds, if you come in and you're training enough, you're actually putting yourself in a stressful situation. And if you'd never had somebody lay on top of you, you were saying like that was something that was big for you, like having that that suffocation feeling.
Claustrophobic.
If you become accustomed to that feeling and you're able to work through the stress of that feeling of somebody on you, pressuring you will against will, and you're able to relax through that. I think when it comes to things like end of the world scenarios, just remaining calm and clear, knowing how to secure fresh water, knowing how to where to look for food or how to grow food when it's all said and done, that amount of, not peace of mind, I guess it's kind of peace of mind, but that being able to relax through it and accept the fate and just go, this is what we're going to do. We've just found that people that get in weird situations that have done enough martial arts in their life, they don't go completely to that red zone where they black out and tunnel vision and their limbs go numb as much as somebody who's never done a martial art or ever had somebody laying on top of them or attacking them, trying to strangle them or whatever. So it is kind of you're relieving the initial stress and the adrenaline dump, right?
Yeah.
First amount of tricks you guys used to do with Jackass, I guarantee the first a bunch of those you did, you go, man, I don't remember. because you went right into that weird adrenaline dump thing initially.
I get like that when I'm on stage, open for Steve. I will black out and I won't remember what the fuck I'm supposed
because
to say.
it's a weird adrenaline dump, and you get tunnel vision and you know cotton mouth and all those things. But as you've done it a couple times, even though there's a thing you've never done before, and you're worried about doing it, it's not nearly as daunting as the first time you did it before the cameras were ever even rolling.
Right. And there's also a lot more of the anxiety, like leading up to it, is scarier than the thing itself.
Right. And once you've been through that a couple times, you go, oh,
right.
Remind yourself of that, and you're fine. Breathe through it. That's one of the things we always, when people are, you're new here, you haven't done any of these things. That's what I was telling you, I did that whole seminar to just explain the movements before the movements. There's an introduction to Jiu Jitsu. Yeah, I can show you all these things. I can show you the guard and show you all these things. But if you don't even understand how to move your body to begin with, to defend yourself, to get out of this thing. Right? Survive, escape, control, submit. You can't submit if you have no control over the situation and you don't have an exit strategy to just survive, right?
Right. You said that you're making a documentary about that?
Yeah, we filmed the seminar itself. I'm editing it together with these guys, and I'm going to probably go back and film some more to really detail it. But just the understanding their body movements and things you're going to end up encountering in a new jiu-jitsu academy. If you don't even understand how to move your body and control your own weight on the ground, now you have somebody on top of you. If you have any kind of childhood trauma, you're like, you don't want to be here. You're out.
I used to be put under mattresses when I was a kid, so it just stirs that up for me.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I will bite and fucking shit myself. I'll do anything to get out of that situation. Like, no fucking questions asked.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck if my mom died on top. I'd bite her fingers off, you know?
Yeah.
If biting doesn't work, then shitting yourself is
shitting.
I mean, it seems like the most logical step, right?
I'm just down to go to that, like I remember when I was driving to a party one time, they put me in the back of a car.
Bite.
And then, like...
Shit self.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, dude, then people kept piling in, and then like I was in the back of the car, and somebody's like, "Hey, everybody, look, Scott's about to freak out," and then that just freaked me out, and I just started punching my way out the side window.
I believe that's called triggered.
Yeah,
I read it online.
Triggered.
Yes.
So
hey, look, everybody, Scott's about to shit his pants.
Now, if you're gonna shit yourself, or frankly, if you're gonna shit at all, then you should know about my favorite sponsor of the Wild Ride podcast ever, which is Hello Tushy, makers of bidets. Bidets, I swear by. They come, you attach it to your toilet very easily. It's got a knob, and that knob, when you twist it, it just fires this awesome blast of water, like pressure cleaning your butthole. It leaves you so clean. It reduces your toilet paper use. It's great for the environment. You are squeaky clean, and once you use it, you never go back. And if you go to hellotushy.com/Stevo, then you get 10% off your order. But be sure to use the promo code Stevo too. That's hellotushy.com/Stevo. And use the promo code Stevo for 10% off your first order so that you can figure out what I'm talking about. I don't call this my favorite podcast sponsor ever for no reason. And that's why you got to get over to hellotushy.com/Stevo now. Now let's get back to it.
Right, prison pocket.
Oh, God.
You just did that to yourself.
But yes, going back to the Doomsday Prepping, I feel like there's this looming thing that I'm going to be the one who survives, but it's like there's so many infinite variables about what that even means.
Right.
You're better off tuning yourself to understanding farming, growing your own food, finding fresh water, like those kind of basic things that you would have to do. I remember watching the Walking Dead series, and I'm watching it just going, this is cool, the drama, whatever, there's a zombie. But then all of a sudden I was like, where are they getting their water?
Right.
And then like the next episode was them like literally trying to find water. So whatever the writer did, like they were, it's like they put that in there, like literally part of their entire survival was like trying to find water for an entire episode, which is probably going on across the whole story everywhere with people realizing that, because there's things you just don't even.
Right.
Okay, your car broke down on the side of the road. Is it going to be cold tonight? Is it going to be hot tonight? Do you have water? Do you have any food? Like just all those things that go through your head in the middle of Australia when your bus breaks down, right?
Right.
Well, what do you think's going to happen, and what do you think's going to happen for like Doomsday?
I mean, I think that you've got like economic collapse is right at the top of the list. Heaven forbid, nuclear war. That seems increasingly likely.
May you live in interesting times. Fuck you. Give me the boring times.
Yeah,
Water crisis.
Yeah.
Water's definitely, water wars is a big one. Climate in general. What are the other mega threats? Another
TikTok.
Another pandemic is
likely.
Yeah, I remember the way
AI. AI.
AI just
I mean,
take
that
over
could,
everything.
It's gonna be
as far as
Terminator 2 shit.
interrupting just basic utility systems. If somehow the AI decides to make a decision that is global in terms of like
right
delivery of electric or gas or whatever.
Let's add cyber war to the cyber warfare. I think is a legit one. There was a book written by Neil Strauss called Emergency. This book could save your life, and for writing the book, Neil Strauss became he hung out with militia people and like all these different like scenarios. Got like a pilot's license, I think, and how to get citizenship in other countries, and like it was pretty fascinating that the learning how to ride a motorcycle, because when the shit hits the fan, everybody's trying to get out. Mm-hmm. You've got all the traffic, but the motorcycles can split lanes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Unless you live in some place that's like a small town of 500 people,
right?
And you're already out of that awful situation.
Right. Yeah.
That's why I moved here, just mainly because I didn't resonate with a large city. It just didn't. I'm from a small town, so I moved back out here because I have access to a large city to do the work I can do with the band. But like, I moved out here to get away from just that energy that was. I wasn't raised with that energy, so I make wine. I have farms. We have gardens and greenhouses, and I raise ducks and quail, and that's just who I am. So if you understand how to keep quail alive and keep ducks or chickens alive,
eggs,
got food, right?
Yeah.
You raise quail for the eggs?
Yeah. We have these.
And the meat?
No, the meat. I have a hard time with that. I can't kill the ducks. We tried that.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, raise these ducks from babies, and it came time to like, okay, these ones have to go, and like I had nightmares for a week. So we have a bunch of these ducks that don't lay eggs that are just like freeloaders. Really? They don't pay any rent.
So are you completely off the grid pretty much?
No. But I think that, again, going back to the preppers thing, that is an absolute absurd myth that you're going to be able to live off the grid for any length of time. If there's going to be some kind of materials that you need to trade for, you can't grow your entire thing by yourself, generally speaking. You have to be a master at that stuff in the right location to deal with the seasonal changes and all that. You're going to end up having to trade something with somebody for some kind of thing to get a job done.
There's that
whether it's food or resources or tools or whatever.
Gas.
You're gonna fuel. Well, even if that might be at that point where like there are you have to figure out how to do that. Well, that's where distillation comes in. You're figuring out how to like create a fuel, a flammable material from using wood to distill some kind of sugar-based.
So are you reading books on this shit like at night?
No, it's just logic. It's just simple logic of like looking at what you do in your life, are you going to just eat the raw food because somebody's going to need heat, or you need to like cook your food? Okay, well then you're going to need some kind of a fuel source to cook your food. Okay, well then what kind of, it's just all those things unravel just logically and logistically in my head to go, okay, well, move to a small town, learn how to grow food and feed ducks and quail. And
how about bunkers? Are you into those?
I have well, you just saw one of them. Like that thing is temperature, because a bunker for me is a place where we can regulate temperature.
Okay.
So if I have to live in that thing in the middle of summer, in the middle of winter, it's going to maintain a certain temperature, so it's a comfortable living setting.
I thought bunker had to be underground.
That's what I thought.
Well, use the lower part of that.
Okay.
There's a roof that's easily 3 feet thick, and it's surrounded on 3 sides by ground. So you roll those doors down, and that is technically it's a bunker. It's not buried underground like you have to go through a tunnel to get to it. Can't even imagine the psychological mess you'd be living in one of those for about a month.
I don't disagree that it might be unpleasant to spend that much time in a bunker, but I really like the idea of having a bunker. And the only problem is, how are you going to pay for it? And I have your answer. You start killing it in the e-commerce game. That's how you become prepared for disasters, by making money. And how do you do that? Well, you start off by having something to sell, like Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole, or the excruciatingly hot Steve-O's Butthole Destroyer. Now, I sell this stuff on Amazon. I sell it at steveo.com. And that's what's great about this sponsor, ShipStation. It's how I sell everything online. Now, if you're selling on Etsy, Amazon, your own website, doesn't matter. ShipStation is one easy to use interface that brings all of these platforms into just one thing. And it also brings in all of your methods of shipping, like the United States Post Office, FedEx, UPS. It's all in one interface, and they give you access to the best rates, which are normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. And it is so easy. You get an order and boom, prints out your label. You put the label on the box and it's out the door. Shipping paid for it. It's that easy. It's ShipStation. It's time to make ship happen so you can get prepared for Doomsday. Okay? Now, even better, you get a 60-day free trial if you go to ShipStation.com and use the promo code STEVO. 60-day free trial. That's a big deal, man. You're going to find out how easy it is to kill it in the e-commerce game. I mean, dude, go to ShipStation.com and use the promo code STEVO. And hand to God, that is how I sell all of my merch. That is how I ship every order with ShipStation. I love them. You need to use them. ShipStation.com, promo code STEVO. Let's get back to it. Yeah.
So that was strategically built to where like it picks up wind and the
it just picks
sunlight.
up, it just makes sure that the if the power grid goes out for a period of time, because I'm assuming that we're all going to try to get back on the same page to fix whatever breaks, right?
Right.
So that bunker is meant to be that way so that it has thermal mass, and therefore my wines being stored in there don't go bad even though the power's off for a week, 2 weeks. It's meant to house them in that way so they're preserved.
You sell the wine in Whole Foods?
No, I think Whole Foods picked up some of our stuff at some point, but I don't really make enough wine to really be in those larger chains. We make quite a bit, but Whole Foods tends to be like, we want to make sure that you have a fuckload of wine, and we always want to be able to get it. And there's consistency with that, so you end up with much larger things.
So you're a boutique wine label.
Kind of, yeah. We're at about 15,000 cases split between 4-8 Wineworks, Caduceus, and Merkin, which is pretty small compared to most California wineries.
How does Arizona compare to California? California is like wine country, right?
Yeah. The the best way to describe what's going on in Arizona, we're high. This is geeky stuff now, so you're going to lose your audience, but I'm going to say it anyway because you asked me. Argentina, you're familiar with Mendoza, and you have all the Malbecs that come from that area. That elevation and that latitude is similar to where we are. So as far as high, get snow in the winter, and it's higher altitude, temperatures and everything are very similar. So if you've ever had an Argentinian Malbec, now you know that we can grow wine here. Okay, because you know that's a possibility.
And the lava soil.
Yeah, we have volcanic soil here. We have a lot of limestone as well, because it should be completely underwater here, ocean. But as far as what we end up producing out of here that ends up being strong, it's very Mediterranean. So Italian, Spanish wines really, really grow well here. California, they have kind of the more Bordeaux and Burgundy kind of French soils and climate that kind of back that up. We're more like Italy, Spain, southern France, Portugal. That's our strength.
What elevation is this?
Here we are at, I'm going to get it wrong, because Jerome, we're 4,900 feet. Down in Cornville, we're at like 3,000, 3,200 feet. So I'm going to say, I think here we're about 4,100 feet.
Mm-hmm. And that's important when you're farming elevation.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
'Cause certain cacao grows like 7,000 to 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
Coffee bean grows at like 2,000 to 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
That was all fascinating.
Very
to me.
specific.
Yeah. So then
but
like
grapes,
Paso
so
Robles?
because of there's yes and no on that. So if I'm at 4,000 feet here, I'm technically, compared to California, we're farther south. We're closer to the equator. So you go, oh, it's going to be too hot to grow grapes there, because you've been in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You don't bother trying to grow grapes there. But Phoenix is a lower elevation. So the closer you get to the equator, the higher in elevation you have to go. So now you get the cooler temperatures because you're higher up.
Okay.
So depending on the coffee beans, it's elevation, but it's also latitude. Where are you?
Can you grow hydroponic grapes?
That's a big facility.
Yeah.
It would be a large facility.
People ever do it?
I'm sure they have, but that's cost prohibitive.
Like with energy.
Well, just having to build a huge building to put your grapes in it, that's a lot of infrastructure.
Is it the dank?
It's a kind,
Is that shit the dank, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fire?
Cron. I mean, the wine is a crazy world, evidently.
Mm-hmm.
So with yoga, like every day you start with a physical exercise. Is that
Kind
right?
of, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just a walk around the vineyard to begin with. Just you watched walking up this hill was just like, it doesn't matter how many times I walk up that hill. It's like being on a Stairmaster for the first in your waking moments. It's
Right.
It wins you. But we do the Jiu Jitsu Academy. I'm blending Jiu Jitsu with actual physical, warm ups and conditioning. Lauren Landau, Aaron, one of his main guys there, out of Denver, Landau Performance has all these great programs for strength and conditioning that are non-invasive, not injury prone. It's not like doing CrossFit. If you're trying to do CrossFit to do like a professional sport, you're an idiot, because you're going to get injured and now you can't do your professional sport.
Right. Okay.
So the more strength and conditioning stuff that Lauren's doing is you're getting as in shape, but you're not risking injury doing it. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Not throwing big ass weights around and trying to.
Right. Like running is generally not really good for you.
It's not great. It's not great. But like Versa climbers, ever been on one of those Versa climbers?
Yeah.
Oh my
ellipticals and
God,
stuff.
that thing should be buried in hell.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
great.
They have those in Brompton version where they fold it.
Fold it up.
Do they?
No.
Put it in your. I wish, man. The Versa climber is like this mean-spirited medieval fucking torture device that I love it.
Well, how long has this regimen been like? Have you been doing this for? I mean,
I go in phases. You go on the road and you try to maintain that, and then just the hours of you're on stage at 9 or 8 o'clock, and you're not getting off until 11, and you haven't eaten because I can't eat after 5 because I have to go on stage, right? So then now you're eating at like midnight, which is the dumbest time to eat, and then you got to go to bed and a bouncing thing down the highway. So my workout schedule on the road just goes to shit because you can't figure out how to get that. Now you're trying to recover by sleeping till noon.
Yeah.
Or
do you
11.
like the tour bus life?
No.
Do you
I don't
get
like
to a
touring.
place, do you stay in a hotel, or you stay in the bus?
It's all about the timing. It's all about sleep, like hitting the REM state.
Yeah.
So if I'm at REM state, like if it's like 5 a.m. and the bus can stay where it's at and I don't have to get out of it, I'll stay in the bus to sleep just so I can get through that stage. Then get up around like 8 or 9 and get in the hotel room and then, but if you go back to bed then, now you're fucked because you're going to sleep till 2. And
Do you have a method of calculating your REM sleep? No.
How do you know? Dreams?
When they say, hey man, you want to go in the hotel? I'm like, you cocks, like you're like ripped out of the cool hot air balloon. You were floating around the Amazon River, you dick. It was a great dream. Fucker. No, I think it's just, I can track it more when I'm home and I know where that state is because I hit it and then when I wake up refreshed. But in the bus, it's like trying to hit that state. It's hard because sometimes it's a long drive and right when you would be in that state, you're going through Ohio and hitting every pothole that was ever invented.
Yeah.
I saw a Tool concert. I've seen a couple, but 1996 in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
And I was living there. I was so just, I mean, not to crawl up your ass and smother it with kisses, but it was.
I think you're saying you meant to say butthole.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I mean, there was
Thank
like just like the notes, man, like the recreate, like there's certain bands like just aren't great live, and I've found Tool to be unbelievably stellar live.
Okay.
And I I just wanted to throw that out there.
That was great. You did great.
He's like, what's your point, Steve?
He did great. Just let it go.
Okay, over. Now I feel my face turning red. How has performing like it's been so many years now, like
Well, old cars, right? They used to an old Barracuda, man, just like tearing up the streets. You try to do that with an old Barracuda now, and it's gonna break. Something's
right.
It just can't do that. So, I think with age, you find ways to sing the thing where it's not creating damage. You can actually recreate it without having to pick a scab emotionally and literally,
right.
hurting yourself. So I think my writing has changed over the years. And I can do some of those songs. I can't do a whole set of those songs.
Right.
I can pepper them in, so I can still do some of those things, but you can't, if you're actually sitting down and thinking about it, you can't expect some of those dudes that, back in the day to do the thing they did when they were 30 years ago, 40 years ago. That you can't expect that out of that body. Your body doesn't do those things forever. Did you see the latest, it was like a year ago, Mike Tyson fighting?
Yeah.
Who did he fight?
Roy Jones.
Yeah. So as much of a monster as that dude is, and I have all the respect in the world for Tyson, watching him do that, it's like, please don't do this ever again.
Yeah.
Because you can see the age. There's an absolute expiration date on that high performance and at the level that guy was operating at when he was in his prime, and to watch whatever that was,
right?
If you don't get it by seeing that, and I'm using him as an example, like that glaring example of like that is an absolute expiration date. Your body is not going to allow you to perform the way you used to perform at certain ages. So you can apply that to pretty much everybody when it comes to physical
Sure.
that
That's
kind
why
of thing.
Jackass is gonna be so funny when they're 70.
It's going to be like the broken hip episode.
Just break in half.
Just talking about the stunts, and they break a hip going to get a fucking yogurt.
For sure.
Right. I have found my bones to be considerably more brittle at this time. And I had the same reaction to the Mike Tyson fight. And I love Mike. I was actually at his little compound where he does his podcast, the Tyson Ranch, with a bunch of friends and stuff. And I felt the same way that you just described, but also it was like a phenomenally successful event. Like
Yes.
it wasn't.
So there's and that always ends up being the factor. Money. It's just it twists motherfuckers, and many people that probably had their hand out to make money on that fight for Tyson, I'm sure they have their hand out again trying to talk him into doing another one.
Right.
When you as the viewer, you see Anderson Silva connect. Dude, the other night, Sandhagen and Cheeto, those guys are lightning fast with those strikes, right? And to watch Mike Tyson, knowing how fast he was, and then see, you can perceive the microsecond delay that he has to deal with now.
I said in the intro that I had the most embarrassing moment on the podcast ever, and I think we can agree. But man, Maynard was cool to save the day by just talking about how we lose our virility as we get older. And, it's true. And that's why I love BlueChew. Because I'm getting older, man. It's harder for me to perform, all right? Now, even if you're a young buck, turns out BlueChew is actually just a lot of fun. No matter where you're at in your life, it's more fun when you're rocking BlueChew. Why? Because BlueChew are chewable tablets with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. It's one ingredient, active. And man, when it activates, it is party time. And BlueChew only costs a fraction of the price of Viagra and Cialis. And if you go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code STEVO, you can get an entire month's supply of BlueChew tablets absolutely for free. All you gotta pay is $5 for shipping. And they make getting the prescription super easy because you just do it with the online medical provider at BlueChew.com. If you're getting older or if you're not, it's more fun with BlueChew. Take my word for it. And go to BlueChew.com. Use the promo code STEVO to get an entire month's supply of BlueChew tablets totally for free. All you pay is $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code STEVO. Now, let's ride this baby out.
Compared to what he was, especially when you watch, Cheeto and Sandhagen fight.
Or even when Chuck Liddell fought again.
Yeah, I was there
that's
for
just
that one. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
But the money and the greed ends up being the factor that ends up taking a toll on people.
Yeah, I mean, the older you get, like this last Australian tour, like really fucking damaged me. Like being back home, like. What are you guys laughing at? This guy fucking couldn't even get in the country.
I'm with.
There's a story. I'm going to talk to him later.
He finally was able to get into the country, but like I'm just saying. No, like we did the 20 something shows in 30 days, and like we toured for the last 10 years, but like that, I can't catch up on sleep. All those different like something's off. These like last 5 days, and I got to go back in like 3 or 4 days.
Uh-huh.
Well, going that way is the easy way.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't even matter.
If the travel part's going to be the part that just gets you. That's why if I can opt to go from stage into a bed and then travel the next day.
These guys go off stage into a fucking Netflix marathon and stay up till like 3 or 4. But I'm like, dude, I have to fucking sleep or I'm dead.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for saving me from that moment where.
No, we're gonna circle back. Oh yeah, we're coming back around.
It was tough, man. Like So
enough about my hair. What do you think about me?
And thank you for mentioning UFC. God, do I fucking love it. Yeah. I love it so much. And the Cheeto Sandhagen fight, it was tough to watch Cheeto not get started on that fight. Like,
yeah, and so that, yeah,
Sandhagen
we can
was
go
just-
on for hours on that. Just that idea of the armchair jackasses chanting stupid shit and the audience having no fucking idea everything that went into that fight. You have no idea. Cheeto could have had the shits that day.
Sure.
And he has to deal with that going in. So that's that millisecond of timing off
For sure.
for that night that he has to deal with that thing and nobody knows about it.
Understood.
He jammed a finger opening a drawer 4 hours before. You don't know like what's going on. So on that day,
Right.
Sandhagen had the upper hand. That's it. Next time they meet, maybe a completely different story. It might be
Right.
the opposite because those are both guys operating at the highest level of that
sure.
thing. The guy teaching at our academy, Clay,
Yeah.
is our black belt on site. He fought MMA and he ended up breaking his back during training at some point out in Denver. His last fight, he lost a decision to Sandhagen, who then got picked up after that, like a fight later, he got picked up by the UFC. And hearing him tell stories of like just what you think you know about what's happening in that ring is
Right.
absolutely beyond your comprehension in terms of just the level that they're operating at.
Right, and Sandhagen particularly with the switching stances constantly and coming from
His
every...
footwork is like Dominic Cruz and Sandhagen
Yeah.
should be like, writing code
For
to
sure.
upload to us later.
Do you watch every UFC? You try
I don't
to?
watch all of them. I definitely have my favorite fighters that I pay attention to. I was extremely, extremely, extremely happy for Holly Holm.
Yeah,
That was like so
yeah.
worried about that one. And to see her just, who the fuck are you? Damn.
Yeah, she was great.
Who do you have, Stipe or John Jones? July 8th.
Shit,
I
really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just made that up.
Yeah, I don't know because we didn't really get a chance to see a lot
Right.
from John Jones then, although he was training that exact strangle.
Yeah.
So it could have been a setup. And again, that day,
Yeah.
the dude across from him he had just a microsecond bad day. That's it.
Right.
And that changes the entire fight. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing them fight again.
Right.
And I was always been a fan of John Jones. I think he's his worst enemy.
yeah.
So
We spoke with Alexander Volkanovski when we were in Australia just a couple days after the John Jones fight. And in the UFC rankings, Volk lost his number one pound for pound to John Jones.
Okay.
And I submitted that we didn't get to see enough out of John Jones to warrant that. But then I doubled back and said, but the fact that he made it that easy there's a lot to be said for that too.
Yes.
So maybe I can't take that from him.
yeah, because other than Jones's own demons and him fucking himself up over the years, dude, he's one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think the consensus would be that now that he's the heavyweight champion, that he is the best.
All right.
I think that's the consensus. I mean, I love that. Yeah, have you ever been tempted to get your tweet on the screen?
I thought about it and I was like, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, let me see if they're gonna. Oh my fucking god! I misspelled that. Shit. I'm back. Yeah, I'll do something stupid.
Sure.
Like I'll put the wrong fighter's name up.
Oh my god! I did one of those. They're pretty good about not putting it up if you make a mistake.
All right.
What did I say? I got some like I always get it wrong. I'm way too.
I'm the guy though that like my friends are all like, there's no way that guy can lose, or that's no way that girl can lose. There's no way. They're the best in the world. And I go, look, they've won 10 in a row.
Amanda Nunes.
100%. Odds are odds are against you, even if you're the best in the world. There's like this weird thing, like you're not allowed to, right? As good as you are, you're not allowed to win like 13 in a row or 12 in a row. Like there's a number in there that's like, no, you don't get to win that one. You will immediately come back and fucking mangle the person in the next fight.
Yeah.
Because you are that good. But for some way, the universe it won't let you have that thing. And so there's so many times that my buddy, you just met him, Tim, with the flip-flops up there.
Yeah.
He's like, no, there's no way. There's no way that person's going to, there's no way that Shevchenko's going to lose. Like, don't say that.
I was a lot more surprised by Shevchenko getting caught by Grasso than I was Nunes getting caught by Juliana Pena.
Right.
Because
the next fight,
right.
Grasso's going to go, what happened?
Right.
Because Shevchenko's no joke. She's going to make the adjustment, and she's going to fix it
Right.
and come at you. And unless Grasso keeps up with that adjustment, not going to happen.
I think Nunes has a way of getting in her own head. Like, I think Nunes kind of lost to herself.
Yes.
And Shevchenko is less inclined to do that, I feel like.
Right.
So much more surprising.
Yeah.
I watched the Volkanovski Islam fight at Dana White's house, and I asked him 2 questions. I said, "What do you think about if in the inspection zone, when they're getting their cup checked and stuff, if they were standing on a scale so that the viewer could know how much weight they put on since the official weigh-in?" Because I'd be interested by that.
Right.
And he said that they had tried that a couple times and that he didn't like it because it drew attention to weight cutting, which they don't really care to do.
Right.
I said, okay, fair enough. How about this?
Because weight cutting is awful.
It's gnarly.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's really gnarly. I said, how about this? There's been not much of a debate over open scoring because nobody's interested in it. But what do you think about at the beginning of round 2, round 3, if there's championship rounds, like at the beginning of those rounds, show what the live odds are and how the odds have changed with each round.
Right.
And Dana pulls his phone and sends a voice message to somebody. Hey, Steve-O wants live odds. And he goes, check it out. And literally from that moment for the rest of that night, every fight began with the live odds.
That's so sick.
And Dana said, you're not wrong, Steve-O. I like this. He's like, Steve-O's odds.
Because I was going to say, they just started doing that. Is that you?
Yeah.
That was me. But
congratulations. Because I was like, I like this adjustment. Because I was like,
you like that?
Because I'm watching, I see what I see. And this number now matches what I see.
Right, they're not doing it regularly. It's not something that now is in place, and I think they're doing it more. I would love it if they did it all the time as a rule, but I understand why maybe they wouldn't want to do that because it indicates more of a blowout fight, making it the illusion of. But it was during the Shevchenko-Grasso fight. I texted Dana, live odds, please. And we got him right away.
Right.
And I thought Grasso was looking really good in that first round. But going into round 2, the gap had swollen. And it said Shevchenko was minus 1,000.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that going, that's not what I just saw.
That was not what I saw either. I was
that's not what I
surprised.
saw.
And that minus 1,000 Shevchenko live odds made Grasso finishing her that round so much more satisfying and made it so much more unlikely and awesome.
That's sick.
Yeah, we could talk about fighting
all night.
Hours all night. I love it.
We should steer the focus over to Vinny for a little while now.
Oh, God.
I do feel that I owe it to you to tell you about Vinny's prison pocket.
Well, we have a couple different options.
Yeah.
Vinny's
So,
prison
that's a
pocket.
wrap.
We have a spiritual story or a prison pocket story.
Yeah, take your pick.
I have a feeling they somehow intersect.
Sort of.
What do you want?
Vinny recently became our co-host, and he's great. He's colorful. And he just had this experience. A guy came up to him in public.
Yeah.
He thought you could tell the story.
I was at the gym working out, and after working out, I went to go to this restaurant in the same parking lot, and I finish eating. I get back in my car, and I see this Indian dude, maybe late 40s, early 50s, walk by my car. Turns his head, and he just locks eyes with me. stops him in his track. And he just goes, "Excuse me, sir, you have a very lucky and happy face." And at first I thought this dude was like a kook, you know, just like absolutely crazy. And he comes over to my car. He's like, "No, we were supposed to meet here at this very moment." And I'm like, okay, this dude is definitely a kook.
Verse.
Yeah. And then he grabs my wrist, right? And as soon as he grabs my wrist, I get this like intense feeling of like pins and needles.
You described it as heroin, but
I described it as a
magnified.
heroin high, just times 1,000. Okay. And he starts
woke
asking,
up missing a liver.
yeah, right.
And a wallet.
And he's like, he kept saying we're supposed to meet here at this moment, and he takes out this piece of paper out of his pocket, and he's like, hold this tight in your right hand, and don't let go. I'm like, okay, like I'm really in this now, you know. And he's like, you were meant to be on this earth. Your purpose is making people laugh and making people happy. And he's like, what I want you to do is tell me a female relationship in your life that's been bringing negative energy. And the first thing that came in my mind was my mom. So I just said my mom's name. And then he's like,
what's her maiden name? And what's the last 4 of your social security numbers?
Yeah. And then he goes he's like, name the first kind of flower that comes to your head. So I say lilies. He goes, what year did your mother birth you? I said 87. He goes, what do you want to do and what are you doing now? I was like, I would like to do some TV stuff. And then he just goes on saying like, again, we were meant to meet here. You are on the right path. Like everything you're doing is the right thing. Keep doing what you're doing. You need to stop thinking so much. You need to stop planning so much and just do. And he goes, touch that piece of paper to your forehead and open it up. I touch that shit to my forehead and open it up. It has my mom's name, 1987, lilies, and TV.
See, that's where the story throws me off because like that's part of like hokey magic tricks, you know, like. Mm-hmm.
And then
he had the paper in his hand.
I had the paper in my hand.
He had that experience, and for you to poo-poo whatever whatever magic came next for him, based on that experience, great.
Right.
If this guy stole his car and it's his identity, now we got a problem.
Yeah.
But whatever that is, and I have friends that they believe in ghosts, they believe in those things, they believe in tarot card, those things. I fucking love the stories of that. If that inspires you to be kinder or better or more constructive with your life, with somebody else's life, 100% in. But if you ask me honestly, that motherfucker had your number.
I mean,
that would be my cynical Irish guy.
I'm squarely in your corner, and I don't want to poo-poo it. No, I love it. I love everything about it.
Like I'm kind of in the same corner too, but it's like, yeah, you can Google my birthday, like you could find that shit out. But how is this dude gonna know that I'm gonna say lilies?
Right.
Ask for the camera recording of the from the building.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay.
And the more compelling part of the story,
because I think superheroes are real. A dude that's really fast. Ran around the building, wrote it on a piece of paper, and put it in his hand, and you couldn't see him. He was so fast.
Yeah.
I find the most compelling piece of the story the physical sensation that came over your body when he touched you.
Yeah, and then an uncontrollable sobbing. Like I couldn't stop crying, and it was almost like my heart was skipping beats, and I couldn't move. And then after he just says he leaves, I'm sobbing uncontrollably, and then I turn around and he's just gone. And it was so many emotions were going through my head. Like I'm fucking terrified. I'm kind of stoked. That I was sick. I don't know what to do. I'm texting him. I'm like, dude, I'm freaking out. Like did I just have
people called him worried about him within that second?
Well, after he left,
were those people in on it?
No fucking way.
Your immediate response was, I think I might have just had a conversation with God.
That's what I texted him. That was the first thing I did.
I can't take that away from you.
Yeah.
No desire to take that away from you.
Yeah.
And so he says,
where was this?
In LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what would Michael Jordan be doing in LA?
Yeah.
So. And the next day, the one thing that he's been dreaming of the most.
Not dreaming, but working hard.
Really, really hoped you were
obsessed.
He wanted to be verified on Instagram so bad. It happened the next day.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And he got into Australia.
Yeah, and they approved.
And his Australian visa came through, despite the fact that he is intent to sell drug dealer,
smuggling,
drug smuggler,
prison pocket,
heroin
vaping.
addict.
Congratulations on all of those things.
Thanks,
Used to
dude.
live in a porta potty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he went to prison for 6 months. He knew he was going to
What a
prison for 6
segue.
months.
Nice. So he talked to Michael Jordan in LA, but went to prison before
Yeah,
that.
he before that, and knowing that he was checking himself in for 6 months in jail.
Are you cool about talking about
Yeah,
this?
yeah, this is fine.
It's
Not gonna ruin
Right now.
It's not gonna ruin my chances with any more hot chicks. That's for sure.
This minor mellow. He knew he was going to be dope sick, so he went for the prison pocket.
Okay.
And what did you fit in there?
A hypodermic needle, 10 Xanax bars, a thing of rolling papers, maybe 2 grams of tobacco, and enough dope to last me a couple weeks.
I still got 5 more fingers.
Yeah.
I would have ended with
That's it?
Skittles.
I would have ended.
Skittles, yes.
I would have ended with the hypodermic
needle,
needle.
yeah.
Some Brazilian coffee beans and a grinder.
Yeah, but the guy said this is Vinny's passed, and now Vinny's recently celebrated 5 years of sobriety. He's
Thank you.
killing it, doing like from where he was. He's on the right path, doing the right thing, and this magical Michael Jordan character told him, "Don't think so much, don't plan so much. Everything's gonna work out in the months of April, May, and July.
April, May, July. Yeah.
Your life is gonna change radically for the better."
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for you, dude.
Well, thanks, dude.
I love it. I want it all to be true.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And the fact that you got to tell that story.
But if it's not true, if it doesn't go the way that was described, take that as a challenge to make it go that way.
For sure. And the way that I think of it, it's just more of like, as long as I just continue like being the best version of myself every day, things work out without any explanation. I don't know how. It's just that's how it's been happening the last couple of years, and every year it's just been better and better. So that's just what I'm gonna do.
You are a special person.
Thanks,
Careful.
No. Vinny's a manifester, and he's a very special person.
dude. Yeah, I believe having a manifestation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always
old are you?
found.
35.
Yeah, you're there. You're like at that.
Yeah.
You figured out how to make those things happen.
When did it start happening for you?
Right around 28, I started realizing that there's ways that I could not manipulate time and space. It's not like that. It's just more paying attention to decisions that I already made and building on recognizing that decision process and recognizing that feeling in your gut combined with the experiences that you have logged up in your computer. Like combining experience with
28.
intuition to make decisions, but also going, I can't make the wrong decision.
Right.
It's going to lead to some educational conflict or some success that I can then build on for more good or bad decisions. They're just decisions, and you go forward.
Yeah.
Do you have a book that changed your life? Besides Doomsday Prepping? But like
Not Doomsday Prepping. I read a lot of Joseph Campbell back in college and things like that. But honestly, it was just experiences, paying attention to not just my own experiences, but my other friends' experiences, and just seeing what they went through for decisions that they made, and letting go of things that didn't matter. I think that's the biggest. Man, if you can get to the point where you can understand what to let go of, like imagine how fun the internet would be if people knew how to just let go of shit and not engage and just fight to the death over the dumbest fucking hilarious shit ever.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's all about that. It's all that age of like, no, I have to win this fight with a stranger on the opposite side of the globe over fucking pizza recipes or whatever.
And on the flip side of that, if you can let go of, for me, the overdeveloped concern for the opinions of others. If I didn't,
right.
if I wasn't so gripped by fear of what people think of me, or they're so hurt by a negative comment.
Right. Oh yeah, but you're exposed like I am in that way. Like you take that seriously because you are an introspective person and you care. You're a caring person, so you're gonna take some of that on. That's just your nature. But being able to take a deep breath in those moments and let that shit go, is fucking hard, but it's essential.
Yeah.
That easy.
And for what you were saying, my experience has been that when I get so stressed out, I'm trying to force something to happen, and it's like if I can just turn my attention and my energy to the work of recovery, everything else sorts itself out.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, am I doing the work of recovery? If I do that, then I don't have to worry about anything.
I was reading a book last night, U Squared. It talked about a fly just kept hitting the window and hitting the window. He just kept hitting the window, and then he just finally that he'll do that until he dies. And all he has to do is just turn around and go the other way, and he can go right into the door easily, and the wind will take him. Mm-hmm. So it's like, don't force anything.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting.
And the wind will take him. That's the craziest part. Wow. My meditation app, every once in a while, it says, by struggling to paddle, like we'll inevitably drown. But if we just relax, we float.
Yeah.
Like a high fiber turd.
Yeah, like a high fiber turd.
That is true, but circling it back around to the UFC and doing martial arts and everything, that's some of the guys, as you watch those dudes get higher up in Jiu Jitsu, they're so relaxed because they understand that the more this young dude who's just stressing out trying to win, 30 seconds this guy's going to be so gassed because he's wasting all of his energy rather than just like relaxing into the moment to go, if I put my hand here, where does this extremely experienced black belt put his hand? Where does he move his foot? Where does he shift his weight? Based on me doing a thing to see what he's doing, rather than me, like, I learned a dance move on YouTube and I'm going to try to force the dance move.
Right.
You're just wasting your time. You got to pay attention to what this guy who has experience is going to do in reaction to you reaching with this hand or reaching with this hand or whatever. And that relaxing, that's the wind. Understanding that rather than beating up against the glass, that's you got to get bend with the wind.
I mean, you had to get really good at that being a farmer. Like,
you have no fucking control. You have zero.
Patience.
Yeah, all the plans in the world, and then you get hail, and your fucking crop's toast. Mm-hmm. So you just have to go, this is what I've got. This is what I got this year. This is what we're doing.
And you plant the seed. Hurry up and grow. What the fuck are you doing?
Nothing gonna happen.
You just gotta forget about it.
There's I cannot make the grapes be ripe in, April. They're going to be ripe in August, September. There's nothing you can do to force that issue. So that patience and let go, let God kind of thing, that's farming, man. It's to a T.
How much? Why is it that wine? They say like age like a fine wine. Is that real? Like wine gets better the older it is.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, you don't have enough time.
Italians.
You have no.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's about the complexity that is that living, breathing creature in a bottle. It changes over time, and the more TLC that went into the actual growing of those grapes, and then the ushering of those grapes into that state of being a wine. They have a structure that is built to age and change and become more complex with age. There's definitely a peak to it, then it falls off, but like there is an understanding of winemaking and grape growing that kind of goes into that statement that gets lost with just the aging like a fine wine. Well, if you want to understand all the effort that took into cultivating that vine and all the effort that it takes to coax that fruit off that vine in the best expression of that day, that year, and then put it in that bottle without getting in the way and not manipulating it. That's where I'm going to come from that metaphorical, steward I'm not a winemaker. I'm a steward of the grape, just getting it from grape to wine.
All right. Puscifer. Like, is it an imminent release, or it already?
So every time we do a full-length album, we then go back and we reach out to all of our friends, and they have a reimagining of all the tracks. And so that's being released March 31st, this Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah,
Boom. The day after this comes out.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that'll be out in the market. All the formats: vinyl, CD. Remember compact discs? And streaming, digital, all that. It's pretty fun. Like, we got a lot of cool people to kind of do it this time. It's always nice to hear what people are how they're gonna reimagine these things. So, quite a few. Justin Chancellor from Tool did one. Karina in the band. My favorite was Karina's track. But Trent and Atticus did one. Sarah Jones, drummer for Harry Styles. Sarah did one. She was actually she played a lot on the actual album, our album. We were trying to get her to go on tour with us, but she's out with Harry. Like, she's like permanent fixture in that whole thing, so we kind of lost her.
Harry's doing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. There's no reason to rock that boat. She's killing it with the band, so there's no reason to bust his balls, although I want to. Because she's great, and I wanted to tour with her, but he got her. Who else is on there? Matt Mitchell did one. Troy Van Leeuwen from Queen's Stone Age did one. I'm gonna forget all the people that did one. Fantagram did one. So it's quite a fun lineup. Juliette Comagere, who's also one of the vocalists that work with Puscifer all the time, she did one. They're all great. It's just really nice to hear them completely reimagined.
Yeah. Is there? You were talking about catching up on touring. Has that just happened, or is that about to happen?
Oh man, I've been touring since 22 started, because like we were shut the fuck down.
Right.
20 and 21 with all bands, and so
now everybody's out.
Yeah, and we're all out, and we're out. So like I'm on the road again in a few weeks with Puscifer and Tool.
Wow.
For all summer, and then Tool back out in the fall, and then Tool back out in the winter, and then I'm trying to do I turned 60 in 2024, so I'm gonna try to put together a thing. I did it for my 50th birthday called Cinquanta, but we're gonna do Sessanta, so my 60th birthday show in some way. I'm trying to figure out what to do.
I look older than you do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Well, that's the lack of sleep.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it is pretty remarkable the way you've kept yourself together.
Yeah, you gotta look under the hood, bro. It's a mess.
It's the Brompton
It's a fucking mess.
Yeah. And then now when you're going out on these tours, it is a bus operation.
Yeah. So for Puscifer, we're gonna do. Tool's got a couple festivals in May. Same festivals that Puscifer's playing. Luckily, not the same night, because that would fucking murder me. But we'll be in a bus, and then in Europe, it'll be probably like crew will have 2 buses, band will have 1 bus, or some combination of that. So the entire band, all the wrestlers, all of our, everybody on 1 bus, and then the crew on another bus, and then Tool. It's like me and my dog.
Yeah.
Your dog likes the RV?
She doesn't mind it. She's kind of young. She's learning the road.
My beloved Wendy she's scared of the bus. I couldn't bring her anymore.
Too much. Just gets stressed out.
Yeah. I want to have her, and I just couldn't do it. So
I got a Yorkie, so she just sits right here, and
there you go.
She's fine.
I think that we could probably wrap it up, and I know I'm going to say this in the intro to the podcast, but man, thank you so much. Like, what an honor. And I've never deployed this bus just to do a podcast. Like,
Okay.
it's epic. I mean, the one time we took our podcast
Who are you running into in Vegas?
Steve Aoki.
Oh, okay. I don't know Steve, but hello, Steve.
Yeah. And I just threw a last minute text to Dana, see if he wants to, which is just rude.
He's been nothing but kind to me whenever I kind of like reach through the powers that be to like, because there's a particular fight that I want to be there for.
Yeah.
I try not, over the years I've tried not to milk that through our booking agent to like be the guy that wants tickets to everything. The only thing I ever beg for is that front row for UFC.
It's
Nothing like
unbelievable. It's the greatest in the world.
I was there in Phoenix when Nate almost caught.
I was there for that.
Oh my god, dude! Like that was like, I'm like literally like freaking out like a meth head, like on the sideline, just screaming, going, "Finish it!" He's up there hot dog, and I'm like, "He's on the fucking ground!"
Yeah.
For sure.
I still haven't been yet. I'm dying to go.
I was in the fighter section for that.
Okay.
Like, which was fun in its own right. Yeah, dude, it's so great, man. And I will pass that on to Dana. I'm sure that he's super stoked to have you there. You know who's the most rabid UFC fan is Anthony Kiedis.
Really?
Yeah. I went to an event with my girl in Dallas, and we're psychos.
He should come train at our academy.
I don't doubt that he would.
Down.
My girl and I get to the fights. This was when Tyron Woodley fought Darren Till in Dallas.
Okay.
We come in there for the first fight pass prelim, and we're like, that's just how we do it. We sit there. We're gonna sit there for 6 hours, and we walk out there in the first fight, and Anthony Kiedis is already in the seat.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting right next to him.
Because some of the best fights you're going to see are going
Yeah.
to be those prelims, because pay attention to what they're doing. You're going to see them again if they're any good.
Yeah, it was Irene Aldana on the Fight Pass prelims that night, and I remember I sat down to Anthony Kiedis. I was like, I'm not gonna bug him. Like, just shut up, just be cool, you know. And like, and Anthony he's like, oh, dude, we're like, you know, talking about fighting the whole time. It was the most fun I've ever had at the UFC.
Awesome.
Just broing down with Anthony Kiedis.
I was behind Vitor Belfort's massive skull. And I'm like trying to watch this Anderson Silva fight, and that's when Weidman broke his leg. Anderson broke his leg. I was like behind it. Like I watched it go, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I almost puked.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I was there when Connor broke his leg. Yeah. Well, yeah, dude. It's an incredible honor. I don't know that I've been more excited ever for one of these. So, thank you.
Thank you.
He's like, what's your point, Steve?
I just write poems, dude. Is this about my hat?
I love it, man.
Oh, did you tell him about our driver?
Oh, I didn't tell you about the driver. Our beloved tour bus driver. I told him right when the idea first came up. I was like, oh man, like end of March, beginning April, we're gonna go to Arizona, for Maynard. And our bus driver said, I sold him his property 33 years ago in Arizona.
What's his name?
Bruce.
Bruce what?
He's right outside the door. Like,
Yeah.
Can I say his last name?
Please grab him.
Because I bought several properties here when I first.
Who's Robeson?
Robeson. So probably
Gilmore or something, or
it was probably up in on the mountain, 30 acres up on Mingus Mountain.
Mingus. That's what he said. Yeah,
The 32.
Yeah.
He's coming in.
Yeah, Bruce is the best. Calvin said, I was like, oh, I want to tell Maynard on the, like get his reaction while we're recording. And he said, yeah, like you're going to get a way bigger reaction from the Brompton. But yeah, the odds.
So the 30 acres on Mingus?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this happened like 30 years ago?
Yeah, well, it happened in 1997, 98.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was because it was payments and then a balloon payment at the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a great piece of property.
Yep.
I hated selling it.
Yeah, I regret selling it, but I made a lot of money off it. So, yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I ended up using it to buy another piece that I have vineyards on. So it was a wise move for me because I couldn't plant vineyards on that part, but I ended up flipping it to get this other piece in Cornville. That ended up it's one of my favorite sites. So.
Cornville's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Cool.
Right on, man. All right, well that's a wrap. And
Do you have a CD player in here?
do we have a CD player in here? I don't know how many of you guys have gotten a CD gifted to you from Maynard, but I think that's a pretty big deal. Let me say, too, I was going to say this in the intro, but I just didn't have the heart. But when I filled out my application to Clown College, they weirdly asked a bunch of crazy questions, like when is the last time you cried and why, and like it was just weird. And among the questions was what your 3 favorite musical acts, and number 1 that was Tool. I put it on my Clown College application in 1997, and the footage of me drinking the bong water, that might have been 90. No, that was 97 too. But I mean, dude, we're talking a long time ago, man. Like, big time fan, and that was huge. Plus, let me tell you that Steve Aoki, like one of my favorite people in the world now. Like, absolutely, the Steve Aoki podcast was fantastic, and that's not even coming next. Next week is a complete surprise out of nowhere. I'll tell you, it's Lisa Vanderpump. Come on, like, my friendship with Lisa Vanderpump is pretty epic. We're going into a fun time with this podcast, and you know how much I love you guys for sticking around, and I love you even more for not judging me on what a dork I was on that one.